Good afternoon, my cuties. This video is brought to you by Miss Freed and the Miss Freed Quarantine Bun. It's a signature look. Let me know if you want to know how to do it. It's quite fancy. And I thought that you guys might enjoy it, so I kept it for you. Today is April 29th, 2020. Shortcut date is 4/29/20. Today we're going to go over the ELA skill for the week, your words you need to know. We're going to go over the constructed response and a little bit of math. I actually did print off the specific worksheets for today's lesson, so it's so much easier, more simple for me to do, and much more enjoyable as well. And then at the end, we'll read a little bit of Tales of Despero and see if Despero makes any progress on saving the princess. The skill for this week, repeat after me, is citing evidence. Citing evidence, read along with me, is finding proof in the pictures or text to prove your thinking. You need to make sure that you turn to the part of the story we are thinking or talking about, read the words and find evidence that proves your thinking. Select by asking which piece or pieces is the best piece of evidence to support my thinking, and finally share via verbally or in your constructed response with your evidence by saying in the text or on page, the author wrote, etc., etc. Here are the words you need to know this week. Repeat after me. This word is clutched. Everyone? Yes, clutched. To keep a firm grasp, hold tightly on grip. This word is echoed. Everyone? Yes, echoed. The repeating of a sound caused by the bouncing of sound waves from a surface. This word is gully. Everyone? Yes, gully. A deep cut or ditch in the land made by running water. This word is that weird one. Reeds. Everyone? Yes, reeds. A tall grass with straight jointed stalks that grow in low, wet areas. This word is scrambled. Everyone? To move quickly using both hands and feet, or to mix or throw together in a random way. This word is thatch. Everyone? Yes, thatch. Straw, palm leaves, or other dried plant material used as a roof covering. And lastly, this word is valley. Everyone? Yes, valley. A long area of low land between a mountain or hills. The constructed response required you to read Buddy Goes Missing again. I hope you took the time to at least skim through it a second time so that finding evidence, best evidence, was simple for you. The question that you were asked to discuss today was, why did Sam choose a book about beagles from the school from the school library, and what did he learn? So typically, in a question that has two parts, you would need two answers in your restate and answer. However, when I went back and followed the steps to select best evidence, I found a piece of evidence that was so strong that I actually could use it to both support my idea and answer the second part of the question. So I went back to the text that we were talking or thinking about, and if you did the same, you should have gone to page 13 and 14. So that's where you should have gotten your idea from, and that is where your evidence should come from as well. I'm going to read you my constructed response, and I want you to see how my selection of evidence supports my answer to the question and how it provides a correct answer to this question. I'm going to try to read it backwards as always. Sam chose a book about beagles from the library because he wanted to educate himself on beagles' tendencies. For example, on page 14, the author wrote, he learned that beagles are experts at finding and following a scent. This proves that Sam was hoping to learn information about beagles to determine his chances of seeing Buddy again. So I even took it one step further, because one of Sam's motives for going to the library and picking out a book on beagles in the first place was to learn about instincts and tendencies, but he also really wanted to know, based on the way that they naturally go about their lives, do we think that I'm gonna see Buddy again, right? So Notice how in this constructed response, I actually added a little bit of extra flavor to my explain, but it still cohesively wraps everything together. Does that make sense? Awesome. Math, you guys, let me know how you're feeling about math. I also did notice that you weren't able to comment on yesterday's video. I'm assuming that when I upload it and speed it up to give you guys the chipmunk voice feature, it blocks comments because those are the only 2 videos that you weren't able to comment on. So don't worry about it, but comment today how you're feeling about the math. Maybe give me a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being, I got this, like it feels super simple for me, I do it very quickly. 5 being like, this, I feel like I remember learning this, but it still takes me some time. And 1 being, I don't understand at all. So please let me know how you're feeling about the math. Here, the whole concept, remember a whole I can statement for the week that we went over these lessons was I will understand the relationship between multiplication and division. And we have to remember that they are in fact related. The word problem that you were working with says Kenny has 24 marbles, implying that he has 24 total marbles. He puts the same number of marbles into each of 3 bags. How many marbles are in each bag? So again, we're thinking about a total being equally distributed in 2 bags. So here are the answers for it. Go ahead and pause the video and check your work. At the bottom, it asks, how could you check your answer? And I wrote different strategies that you could use to check your answer. You could draw another model. You could do 8 groups of 3, the inverse, and see if that works. You could do repeated addition, 8 plus 8 plus 8. Here, go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to get your answers for this. I did write the definition of an array on the side, just in case you needed a refresher on that. An array is a set of arranged in columns and rows that make calculating and counting easier. Ooh, sorry for saying that word. At the bottom here, it asks, how are multiplication facts in a family alike and how are they different? And I basically just said that it's all dependent upon the total number of groups, the number of objects or items in each group, and or the total. And or the total, not title. Okay, awesome. So that was 7 minutes and 45 seconds, so that should feel comfy for you. After I was completing the math today, I keep forgetting to include advanced math stories for you guys to do, so I am going to write that in my to-do list right now. Send advanced math stories. So I will send those next week, okay? Because I know that this stuff we've already learned and our class learns things pretty in depth, so I know that this should feel very familiar to you, okay? Awesome, go ahead and get comfy. We're going to read Tales of Despero. We are almost done, but we have that whole stack of books that I introduced to you in yesterday's video to read and dive into, so I'm really looking forward to that. Today's chapter is called Mouse Blood. Yes. This book's so scary. Despero stood at the top of the dungeon stairs and peered into the darkness that waited for him below. Oh, he said, oh my. He had forgotten how dark the dark of the dungeon could be. And he had forgotten, too, its terrible smell. The stench of rats, the odor of suffering. But his heart was full of love for the princess, and his stomach was full of cooked soup, and Despero felt brave and strong. And so he began immediately, without despair, the hard work of maneuvering the spool of thread down the narrow dungeon steps. Down, down, down went Despero tilling, and the spool of thread. Slowly, oh so slowly they went, and the passage was dark, dark, dark. I will tell myself a story, said Despero. I will make some light. Let's see. It will begin this way. Once upon a time, yes, once upon a time, there was a mouse who was